Previously on the final pitch. The investor judges have each decided on their 4 potential investees.
These are the picks of our investor judges for the final pitch Season 5, Real Estate and Livable Cities Edition.
For Team Prime, we have Brookie, Cocotel, Rentalby, and Lopez Realty. Team WeCom also has Brookie, Rentalby, and Lopez Realty, with Move On completing the lineup. Brookie and Lopez Realty are also part of Victor Consunji's Team VCDC, along with Tea House and Belair Property. Team Dabosa Land includes Tricycle, Waste, Revastaff, and Brookie. And finally, Brookie hits a home run with the 5 investors as they join Team Angkas, along with Tricycle, Rentalby, and Cocotel. This week, the entrepreneurs and property owners prepare for the journey ahead through a series of mentoring sessions. My name is John Aguilar, and I'm a serial entrepreneur based in Manila, Philippines. I've gathered 5 illustrious investors looking to fund and support the next great real estate play. Jet Yu, millennial dealmaker and CEO of property advisory firm Prime Philippines. Cesar Wee, CEO of fast-rising real estate development group We Community Developers. Victor Consunji, founder and CEO of innovative modern homes developer Victor Consunji Development Corporation. Carrie Lagdameo, first vice president of Davao-based property development firm Dabosa Land. And George Royeca, chief transport advocate of the beloved motorcycle hailing app Angkas. Our goal is to find the best properties and urban solutions and forge joint ventures that will change the landscape of Philippine real estate. Many will try, but only a few will make it to the final pitch. Hello, entrepreneurs and landowners. Welcome to Dragon's Nest, the new home of the final pitch. It is also the new home of our venture builder, which is called Dragon's Nest. So a venture builder builds startups from the ground up. And the way we're going to do it is that we're going to be recruiting executive founders that will be working with an internal team that we will be creating here at Dragon's Nest. And we will be documenting the formation of these startups in the next couple of years. Right now, we have lined up 3 amazing mentors that will help you as you formulate your final pitches. But before we get into that, I would actually be giving you a sneak preview into Season 5. So right now, I'd like to introduce our senior producer and also director of the final pitch. I'd like to call in the Don.
Thank you. It's great to see you again, guys. We're very glad to welcome you here at Dragon's Nest. You are all familiar with me, of course, with my co-producers Maricel and Joel. But what you've witnessed with us is just half the job. So let me show you the full grind as I take you on a tour here on our Dragon's Nest post-production team. And I'm very proud of them. Come on, let's meet them, guys. Hi, so we're now here in the post-production team of Dragon's Nest. So as you can see, we're very lean, but we're very efficient. We bank on our diversity. As you can see, our strength lies in our differences, not in our similarities. So first, we'll go to the youngest. This is Eugene, Master Eugene. Right now, he's doing the helipad scene. So this is one of the trademarks. We promise you that this is the best helipad scene ever shot by our direct Joel. Here, this is my spot. As you can see, I'm editing right now Filipino. This is the initial pitch of Philip. He's the record holder for the longest initial pitch ever. So don't you worry, guys, we're good. Come airing time, this will be 5 minutes and you won't even notice. Of course, we promise to make you look good, but we also highlight the bad if it's worth highlighting. Right. So right now, this is not an editing trick. You're not seeing double. So actually, they're brothers. It's Patrick and Ryan. Oh, Rentalby. And then this is Paul. He does all the syncing of the audios. He does all the initial editing before the producer even touches the episode. Now we're here with Maricel. She's a multitasker. She's our field producer, field PA, she's logistics, she's admin, she's budget officer, she's everything. And this is Kai. She's our digital artist and animation and everything. So as you can see, all 7 of us do the entire season. It takes 1 day to shoot an episode, but 1 to 1.5 weeks to edit it and master it. So kudos to the guys that do it. Yeah. Thank you very much. See you again soon. Thank you.
So entrepreneurs, now that you're preparing your final pitch, a critical aspect of your pitch will be your pitch deck. Right now, your first mentor for today is an expert at design. She is the CEO and founder of Dezynspace, and she will help you craft your winning pitch deck. Entrepreneurs, please help me welcome Kat Manalo. Kat?
Good morning, everyone. I'm Kat Manalo, the CEO and founder of Dezynspace. So Dezynspace is a design company wherein we help entrepreneurs and small businesses with their design needs. I'm here to prepare you guys and help you to have your winning pitch deck. So now I'm gonna focus on these 8 slides. The concept. You have to have a strong concept statement, and when you have that, everything follows. So here, it's actually a client that we worked on. They're in Silicon Valley. This is their concept slide. It's composed of what? 7 words. It's very clear. All-in-one donation platform for nonprofit. This is your first slide. So it has to be very strong and very clear. The problem. You have to identify the problem that you're trying to solve. What is it really? Oh, I'm trying to solve 20 problems. Are you really solving 20 problems? Sample problem slide. Focus on the top line. This is about less than 20 words. So the problem that we're solving is that there is still no easy way for companies to quickly fill short-term graphic design positions with quality talent. The solution, similar to the problem. So if you're solving 20 problems, would you have 20 solutions? Maybe yes, maybe no. But it doesn't matter. Whenever you're pitching, it's how clear you land that message. So this is our solution slide. Dezynspace is a web platform where businesses can rent pre-vetted and upskill graphic design talent on demand. Market opportunity. What's the market that you're talking to? How big is your market and how feasible for you to hit your market? The competition. It's also important to know your competitors. Just be aware that there is someone there who could do it better than you, or maybe you could improve what they're doing. So here, Airbnb did the X and Y axis competition slide. They're saying here that, yeah, we have a lot of competitor, but we're the only one on this space. Affordable and online transaction. Competitive advantage. So if your competitor is doing this, what are you doing on that space? This is the competitive advantage slide. So if I'm company A and I notice that company B is not doing this, and that's my strength. Traction. So note down important milestones that you guys have. It's a proof of concept that your business is really working. Business model. So how are you profitable? You could say I earn 20% from everything that I sell, or I get commission, or I get subscription fee. So you have to tell your investors what's your business model. We're gonna now proceed to our workshop session wherein you'll create your statement for the following. The concept or the catch line, the problem, the solution, how would you do it clearly? Traction in bullet points, your business model, diagram your market opportunity. Create an X and Y axis for your competition. And then create a comparison table for your competitive advantage slide. And at this point, I'd also would like to announce that for your final pitch, Dezynspace will be sponsoring the designing of your pitch decks. So let's get it started. I have some post-its there that you could start working on. So I think now it's clear what you're trying to do. You could definitely still improve your problem statement because you mentioned that it's the lack of easy access, right?
Yes.
So there's no easy access
for capital.
Your problem could could state something like no easy access to reliable or friendly capital or loan provider.
Yes.
To develop a certain property. Thank you.
Thank you for the advice.
So, good start. I'd feedback preferably on the one that needs more improvement. So for example, your concept, if I will write it down, you could actually remove few more words here, right? Do you really need to mention homes, communities, and business? Because if you're targeting all of them, you could just say on-demand segregated waste hauling service platform, right? Your market opportunity, I guess, still needs a lot of work because your market opportunity really here is not transporters. I would say your market opportunity here is how many people are already segregated. Right? According to survey, 50% of the Filipino are already environment conscious and they are already segregating waste, right? That's your market opportunity. Your market opportunity is not the world. What is the world, right? Like how much of that world is our market opportunity? But then when you say 50% of Filipinos, so we have what, 110 million Filipinos right now? 50% of that is 55 million Filipinos are willing to pay for this service. So your market opportunity becomes more realistic than just grandeur. I'm gonna go through it on more detail and maybe email you a write-up of the details. I hope I'll be able to elevate your pitch deck before your final pitch. Right? All right, thank you.
Thank you so much for all of this. It's very important.
Up next,
As a seller, one of your obligations is to make sure that the property, the ownership, can be transferred smoothly to the buyer.
In the first 30 seconds, if you fail to catch the attention of the person you're talking to, your pitch, it's gone. Forget about it.
So entrepreneurs and landowners, you are here on the show to pitch. And particularly for the landowners, we went through the requirements of the show, which was to be able to assess the true ownership of the properties. But apart from ownership, there are a number of things that developers look for, particularly for joint venture projects. So our next mentor will help you define and refine the requirements that you will be submitting for the due diligence process of our developers here on the final pitch. And he is waiting for you at the conference room right now.
Good afternoon. I'm Lipana, President and Co-founder of Conveyance Realty Services.
Good afternoon, I'm Julius Dela Cruz. I'm the co-founder and the vice president for sales and marketing for Conveyance Realty Services, Inc.
Okay, so before our topic, I'd like to give a brief background about our company, Conveyance Realty. We're a private and a professional company that specializes in land title transfer. We're a team of licensed professionals, liaison officers, technical experts, and we provide the full range of land title services. I'll be discussing about title due diligence. Title due diligence is the process that involves research and analysis of documents to validate the accuracy of property information and the legality of ownership. A land title is an evidence of the right of interest of the owner to possession and to the use of property. As a seller, one of your obligations is to make sure that the property, the ownership, can be transferred smoothly to the buyer. We have two types of land titles. One is the original, which is at the Register of Deeds. The other is the owner's copy, which is what you have. It is the most important document, in a real estate transaction. Without a clean land title, you cannot sell or you cannot transfer the ownership of a property. With due diligence, you can verify the property information on the two titles, the owner's copy and the Register of Deeds copy, the original copy, if it's correct. And as early as now, you can already prevent unforeseen or legal problems in the future if you do your due diligence now. You see the real value of the property. And then the other one lets you determine the method that is required to cure a defective title. If the problem is defective or there's a problem, you cannot transfer the ownership of the property. So there are three types of due diligence: technical, the legal, and physical. So for the technical, this is where you do title verification. You have to check and you have to compare the data and information on the two titles. All information in the owner's copy and the original copy should be identical. You also need to get the certified copy of the tax declaration. This is the record of the property at the assessor's office. It also contains the ownership data, the property information, and the real property tax payment. The next step is you get a lot plan from a licensed geodetic engineer. So you would know the shape of your property. When you plot the technical description, you also have to check if the area coincides with the area in the title. Now we will discuss the legal due diligence. When we talk about legal due diligence, we talk about history of the ownership. We also check with the possible liens or encumbrances or third-party claims. We also verify the potential hindrances. And we also check the existence of the two copies of the titles. You also need to check for pending cases with judicial courts, involving the property, So that's part of the legal due diligence. Yeah, baka may existing case yun nga, there's a notice of levy, You have to check with the local courts as well. Let's now go to the last part, which is the physical. So what do you do? So first, you go to the assessor's office, you secure a tax map. Okay, what is a tax map? It will indicate the location of the property in that municipality or the city. And then the next one, you have to verify the actual use of the property. So for example, you have a commercial property. You have to check with the local government or the zoning what are the restrictions or the limitations of this property. So you have to check the ordinances and regulations pertaining to the property. The relocation survey will tell you the actual boundaries of the property and the exact location based on the title. In summary, I'd like to emphasize the importance of doing the due diligence. Even if you're not the buyer, you're the seller. You want to make it easy for the buyer to buy your property. So you have to make sure the legal documents, especially the title, is clean and free from any encumbrances.
Okay. Now we're gonna go to the portion as to how to pitch your property effectively. So you have to clear the path in the investor's mind. And in the first 30 seconds, if you fail to catch the attention of the person you're talking to for your pitch, it's gone. It's out the window. Forget about it. I just want to let you know these things. The key is preparation. Mistakes are very, very expensive after being committed during a pitch because you've already lost the investor. The mistake costs nothing if you commit it before the pitch. You have to rehearse your pitch. You have to do it over and over again such that to a certain level, it's very natural. The first thing that you have to know is location. How many access points are there to your property? What are the locators around your property? What's the impact of that to your property? These are highly important for pitching a property. So you have to be prepared as to answering these things. So road network, accessibility, exits are very, very, very important because the property is quite useless if you can't really get to it. Physical features of the property, it's very important that you know how to pitch it to its advantage. If you have a small frontage or a large frontage, it's going to affect the price and the lease rate. So for example, if you're selling a property and you have a wide frontage, that's prime property. And if you're seated along a main road, that's prime area. We can actually lease it for a higher price compared to the properties at the higher floors. Simple as that. What are the market values in the area? How are you gonna compete? How are you gonna sell it to him? And how much is gonna be the markup of the developer? There are so many things you have to be thinking about. So, relativity, third point. You have to understand the relation of your property to the surrounding areas, and most especially for the purpose of those people who are pitching non-properties, the competitor. You have to understand what prices the other similar properties are selling at and what your advantage is. Fourth, negotiation skills and benefit pitching. You have to understand that you are actually pitching a benefit. You have to understand how to close, sometimes even without the visuals. You have to be able to actually convey the idea to them. If you can have a pitch, making sure that it's conveyed properly to your client, then no problem. Last is knowing your numbers. You have to know your figures. If you walk in there with an asking price, you have to understand what your last price is and your walkaway price. In terms of selling the property, you have to know your taxes, what taxes your investor is gonna go through. You have to understand what the net amount would be for him. You have to be able to compute the ROI. More importantly, what's the ROT? Return on time invested.
Okay, thank you everyone for listening to us this afternoon, and we hope that you learned a lot.
And we wish you good luck in your pitches and go get them all.
Up next, please help me welcome the one and only Amor Maclang.
If you are truly meant to lead in your category, then you truly need to be ready to start your own movement. Now, why should the real estate industry be excited about you?
So entrepreneurs and landowners, I made an observation a while ago. I saw that when you entered the facility, some of you actually were already conducting business with each other. I saw some exchange of notes, and I know some collaborations are up in the air. I guess in this case it came easy because there is in a way a trust that has been developed as co-contestants here on the final pitch. And one great way to develop trust is by thought leadership. So our next mentor is the co-founder and chief communications officer of GeiserMaclang. As a champion of livable cities, she is the chair of public engagement for the Urban Land Institute. Entrepreneurs, please help me welcome the one and only Amor Maclang.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Hello. The idea of being able to help shape the destiny of 10 businesses and startups in an industry that's very near and dear to my heart is something that I really share very closely with John and the final pitch. So today, it's going to be all about the importance of thought leadership even when you're just starting your entrepreneurial journey. So the only appropriate way for us to do it is to engage each and every one of you, and hopefully not just through your final pitch journey, but moving forward. OJ, so tell me a bit about what you do in RevaStaff.
RevaStaff is a property tech startup specializing in visual marketing content to drive real estate sales, and also for architecture, engineering, and construction presentations, specializing in augmented and virtual reality.
There's a huge demand for commercial real estate, not just residential real estate. And in your case, what you can do is champion the Philippines, the various CBDs that you're in, Manila, Cebu, and do walking tours of available properties for leasing. So I think the bigger play here for you is to talk more B2B rather than B2C. And I think you really have something here, OJ. All the best to you.
Thank you, Amor.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Elroy, now why should the real estate industry be excited about you?
It really started out as a frustration. My wife is a real estate broker for the past 8 years, and it's just been her frustration. She lost a sale because she couldn't reply. She couldn't provide the right information to her client. From that on, we learned that there's a lot of processes that needs to be fixed in the real estate industry. One is workflows. Some are still in manual processes.
You know, the real estate industry is probably one of the slowest to embrace technology.
To imagine the future and the demand of that information, can you really take it using that current system of yours?
Yeah, but see, the one thing that I'd like to share with you that's unique to everyone is the idea of undertaking change management, risk issues, crisis management. That is another important pathway of thought leadership, because what you're basically espousing is a radical change from how they've been doing real estate for decades. And the fact that you're coming in with something that will automate the process, simplify it, and make it easy for many people, and always to guide the people who are implementing the project to feel secure that they will not be left behind. So all the best to you and your wife. Good luck, Brookie. Filipino, I understand that you're a multi-hyphenate. Could you tell me a little bit more about that?
Tea House is basically a brand, a universal brand to lead the tiny house movement here in the Philippines. My AAA passion is art, architecture, and adventure. Through art, I invent, I innovate products like the Tea House. Another passion of mine, aside from art, is architecture. Architecture is where we design and build projects. It's about services. And last is adventure. Adventure is when we develop and democratize properties or real estate properties. For the final pitch, what I'm excited to share is about the fourth A, which is app or the platform.
Wow, that was quite a mouthful. But I believe that you can deliver on all of those. However, the thing that you have to understand as you all chart your own thought leadership journey is the F word, focus. I need people to remember you with one thing because people are not necessarily going to remember everything about you. Thought leadership is being known for one thing at a particular time. So it's designer homes, right? For the smallest space possible. And that could be your movement. If you are truly meant to lead in your category, then you truly need to be ready to start your own movement. Hi, Carl.
Hi, Amor.
Where is your current land bank? I mean, aside from Metro Manila.
At the moment that I'm aggregating are actually family-owned, and I represent them. And some of the lands are also partially owned by myself. And it's a good point that yes, it would be good to actually aggregate, different land holdings. We do environmental joint ventures such as ecotourism, agritourism, and when we do commercial buildings, that we put great emphasis on the fact that maybe it's a mix of solar, wind, it's renewable energy sourced.
I love what
LEED
you're
buildings.
saying. I like how you have put out there what your vision and your business objectives are. We will only work with developers who subscribe to sustainability, renewable energy, because that's a very important component of thought leadership. It's all about articulating your inner truth and your inner vision and making sure that it's aligned not just with your business, but also with what's good for the community and with the rest of the world. I think the future of real estate in livable cities is very secure amongst all of you. And I'm very excited to be part of the first step to your journey. And I have 3 things I'd like to leave as parting gifts for all of you. I write the longest running real estate column in Business Mirror, and I would like to make sure that once ready, all of you will get a special feature in my column, each column devoted to all your great stories and your products. That's the first thing we want to get started on.
Wow.
Now, I'd also like to host a lunch for all of you because I'm also the Executive Director of FinTech Philippines Association. So all the biggest technologists and investors are members of FinTech Philippines, and a co-joint luncheon with the leadership of the Urban Land Institute. So between these 2 organizations, I'm sure you will find people who will use the technology, who will most likely invest in you, in addition to the amazing investments that I know you're going to get here in the final pitch, and also work with you with your own proof of concepts. And then finally, we would like to offer mentorship with you with our company, GeiserMaclang, for your own thought leadership platform. And I'm very excited to be part of your journey, and we hope we can do well and do great things together, not just for the real estate industry, but for our country in general. So all the best, guys. Look forward to seeing you.
Next time on The Final Pitch, Team Prime Philippines meets with their potential investor, JetU.
For Team Prime. Cheers.
Welcome to your business challenge.
I really don't have any clues about the challenges.
Welcome to the next phase of your business challenge.
I look forward to your presentations.
You should highlight more on the surrounding areas. I tried my best.